Hello and welcome to Artifacts with Edie. We had a little technical glitch there right at the beginning. My name is Edie Steiner. I am the shepherdess here at the Summit County Historical Society. I'm also a music therapist with Akron Public Schools at Bridges Learning Center. We are broadcasting to you live today from the John Brown House. Our weekly game show, Are You Smarter Than a Border Collie?, happens every Friday live at 11:30, where anything could happen. So each episode this week is your study guide, so please tune in and make sure you keep up with the 4 episodes that will help you to study. Good morning to our scholars watching from Bridges Learning Center and our scholars watching from Jennings Community Learning Center. Once again, I'm live to you today from the John Brown House here in the heart of the city of Akron. In episode 11, I introduced you to one of Summit County's most notorious former residents, John Brown, an abolitionist, a tanner, a shepherd, and a family man. Today, we will continue our Akron and Summit County history journey by learning a little bit more about John Brown and what residents of the Akron and Summit County affectionately referred to as Mutton Hill. The word mutton is a word that people once used to describe sheep. Oh, that got your attention, Owen, didn't it? In 1844, after years of money trouble, John Brown was offered a position by the wealthy Colonel Simon Perkins, the son of Akron's co-founder, to work in the sheep business. Brown's recognition as an excellent breeder of sheep and a judge of wool made him an excellent fit as shepherd of Mutton Hill and the large flocks of Merino and Saxony sheep that grazed the hillsides. Oh, Rudy, now I have your attention too? Great, well, let's get back to our story then. Perkins would furnish the food and provide shelter for the sheep. Brown would do the farm work, caring for the sheep by washing them, shearing the wool, and preparing the products for the market. This deal gave the Brown family a fresh start after money troubles and grief and having lost 4 children to illness within recent years. Brown said of this home, the most comfortable and most favorable arrangements of my worldly concerns that I've ever had. In Brown's own words, a comfortable start, favorable arrangements. These words are so relatable. A first apartment, a dream home, a fresh start after a life-changing event. We have all had people in our lives that have given us a chance. And you don't have to tell us their name. Just place an emoji in the comments that tells that story for you. After today's program, I will share mine. John Brown's compassion, love of nature, and love of animals were obvious in the way that he cared for the sheep of Mutton Hill. Evan Carton said of John Brown that he claimed he could tell every sheep in his flock apart, just as we recognize people in our own community. Brown checked on the flock several times a day, scooping up the weakest of the young lambs if they appeared to be distressed from the cold and carrying them into the kitchen. There he revived the creatures by slowly immersing them in a tub of warm water, drying their limbs with a flannel cloth, and spoon-feeding them warm milk by the fireplace. At dawn, his wife and children would likely find him sitting with his back to the fireplace, a delighted audience of one watching lambs run and play across the room. At that time, the Perkins family farm was 150 acres, 1 mile from downtown Akron. Here, 1,300 to 1,500 head of merino wool sheep grazed on what the locals called Mutton Hill. The stone walls of the farm still stand steadfast today. In this picture of the Perkins Stone Mansion, you can even see the grass is unevenly cut from the grazing sheep. In 1846, the partnership of Perkins and Brown was so successful that Brown was sent to Springfield, Massachusetts to establish better trade relations with wool dealers in the area. The Perkins and Brown Wool Company won gold medals in both New York and Boston for the quality of the Akron-grown wool. Samuel Lawrence, who was a manufacturer in Massachusetts, wrote Colonel Perkins in 1844 the following message: "Mr. Brown's wool has ever been of the highest character since he first brought it here, but this year it has amazed us." Brown had his son stay in Akron to continue working on the Perkins land in Tennessee, Michigan. Between 1844 and 1848, more than 14 articles were written about the work of Perkins and Brown, especially highlighting Brown's method for cleaning the wool and his speeches to bring farmers together, presenting a united front of producing the best wool. Throughout all of his travel and all of his time away from the Perkins farm, Brown did not forget his convictions and continued his involvement in the secret activities of the Underground Railroad. While living at this Akron house, he and his family hid freedom seekers until they could be moved onto a station further north. When Brown established the wool company in Springfield, Massachusetts, it also gave him a chance to expand his role in the Underground Railroad and build relationships. And you will have a chance to learn more about the individuals that Brown befriended when he was on the East Coast in our next episode of Artifacts with Edie. It's time, though, to review what our artifact of the day is. Residents in the city of Akron affectionately called the Perkins family sheep farm by what name? Was it A, Sheepdog Shanty, B, Mutton Mound, C, You Betcha, or D, Mutton Hill? You have really been listening. Residents of Akron and Summit County have referred to the great Perkinstone Mansion property as Mutton Hill, where over 1,300 to 1,500 Merino and Saxony wool sheep once grazed. Question 2. What spin would you put on how John Brown felt about his new home at the Perkins family farm? Would you say he felt prideful, A, B, resentful, C, shameful, or D, contentment? John Brown said of his new home in Akron that it was the most comfortable and most favorable arrangements of my worldly concerns that I have ever had. I think we all know what the right answer is there. Last question, which statement is untrue? John Brown was known for his A, sheep husbandry skills, B, radical abolitionist beliefs, C, his accordion playing, or D, high quality wool. You're woolly making sure I don't twist the truth here. Wonderful listening, scholars. John Brown was not known for his accordion playing. He was known for his sheep husbandry skills, his radical abolitionist beliefs, and high quality wool from right here in the city of Akron. Today's artifact is about the many pivotal moments that John Brown experienced during his life. Between what you think you have and what you might have when you have more knowledge. So this here is a piece of wool. And when you hold something like wool in your hands, you think you have something soft and fluffy, but if you shift your focus even for a minute, the world can start to change a little bit. So what could our artifact of the day be? If you said a walking wheel for spinning wool, then you have really circled through this story. Spinning wheels were invented in China or India between 500 and 1000 AD and used throughout the Industrial Revolution, which began in the 1700s and lasts until the 1840s. A spinning wheel is actually a machine, and it's powered by your feet to twist the wool together to form threads and yarn, which are gathered on a bobbin or a stick for use in making clothing or other textiles. An earlier type of spinning wheel, our wheel is an artifact from the David Hudson family, who was the founder of Hudson, Ohio. Notice how big the wheel is and that it is used to spin the wool. This wheel is great for single-handed spinning techniques, which also allow the spinner to use one hand to spin the wheel. And it's also called a great wheel or a wool wheel. This wheel was brought to New England from Europe. This spinning wheel is constructed of wood and is a more expensive machine than some of the others of the time. The spokes are hand carved and the wheel is about 4 feet in circumference. It's called a walking wheel because that's what you do when you use it. You walk. And some women walked as much as 20 miles a day in their homes spinning wool. Women of all social classes, even noble women, used spinning wheels. Colonial women spun and created homespun cloths to dispute the British monopoly on the textile industry. Spinning one's own threads or yarns was the ultimate independence. The spinning wheel has long been a symbol for industry, patience, and even found its way in fairy tales such as Rapunzel and Sleeping Beauty. Oh, speaking of Sleeping Beauty, I see that all of the border collies in the room have found their napping spots. Tomorrow, we will continue our field trip right here at the John Brown House. I will see you at 11:30 tomorrow for another episode of Artifacts with Edie, where I show and tell the artifacts from the Summit County Historical Society, where history is always within reach. Thank you for joining us.